Where the fuck is this guy? Been for like 25 minutes now. And of course, it goes straight to voicemail. Well, let's go ahead and go inside. It's cooler in there anyway. Fucking guy. Hey, what the fuck are you doing here? What the fuck?
Dude, where were you, man?
I've been sitting out there for 25 fucking minutes.
Dude, I came in here, they charged me to come in. I told this jerk that I'm part of the show, and he's like,
He charged you? How much did he charge you?
He charged me $30 to come in. 30 bucks, que desmadre, te digo. $30.
You know there's no refunds, right? Come on, let's go.
Tell him that I'm part of the show.
He's part of the show.
In Spanish. Español.
In Espanol. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second episode, third episode, first episode.
The first YouTube video, whatever.
First YouTube video of the Wylde and Munch Show. I'm Kyle Wylde, this is Danny Monchichi Ramirez, and tonight we have not only the hardcore Kamikaze Max X on our show, but we have the Vandal of UEW, Andre Verdun. So let's head to the locker room right now and see who's back there waiting for us.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take some stuff. That's right, 30 bucks, buddy.
Playing with?
My balls, I mean, why would they sell something like this? It doesn't make sense. We're walking on a big set of balls.
Pretty sure that's supposed to be a brain. It goes on your head. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are backstage in the UEW locker room, and we have the privilege of interviewing one of the youngest up-and-comers here in UEW, Hardcore Max X. Now, this guy got his start back in a... What the fuck?
Makes sense. That was a pair of balls.
Got his start back at Passage to Pain. Looks like he's here now. Give me 1 second.
Wait, let me guess what it is. Max X.
The hardcore Kamikaze Max X.
Hey, is this the thing?
This is the thing.
It works.
Or you're in the right place at the wrong time, but let's get you over here.
Oh, no. Oh.
Let me guess. Max X. It works.
That's cool.
Oh!
Is this mine?
That's all you.
Hey, guys. Hello.
Well, welcome to the Wylde and Munch Show.
Wylde and Munch.
The Wylde and Munch
You're
Show.
the Munch.
Mr. Munch.
Can't you tell?
Like a munchkin?
Like a Monchichi. You ever seen the Monchichis?
I'm too young for that.
Well,
Power Rangers.
I was just explaining to Danny, you got your start here in UEW back in May of this year at Passage to Pain. Can you talk about that match, your first experience coming out here into the underground, getting eaten a little bit alive by the underground fiends, and then earning their respect?
Yeah, I mean, it was like one of the most nerve-wracking things in my life to go out there. I never like anticipated anything like that before, and you know, like the whole week coming up to that show was just my nerves coming over me over and over, and I didn't know how the fans would react, but I kind of knew that, you know, I would just go out there and earn their respect by my wrestling moves, and I kind of earned their respect by getting killed.
They dubbed you the Kamikaze after that.
Yeah, and hardcore.
How did you prepare yourself for that match? What did you do? Did you watch all these scary movies? Did you learn
For
how to
which
hide?
match?
But his first match, his debut match.
The six-way?
No, just by training. Training in the ring was the only way I could, you know, prepare myself for that. I mean, to get my mind off the things, I actually went to a trash talk show the night before. Trash talk?
What's that?
It's a band.
Oh, no,
My theme music is trash talk.
I was talking trash like, man, what's up with that hat? How come we have big balls? Does it look like big balls?
They don't look like your big balls.
Just don't tell me, show them big balls. I'll put this aside.
Well, anyway, back to big matches. Shortly after that debut match in that six-way, they threw you into a match against none other than J.D. Horror. What the fuck was going through your head when that happened? What were you thinking when you came out there and had to step out of your element, step out of a traditional wrestling match and walk into underground rules?
This guy's insane. This guy's crazy.
I did think J.D. Horror was legit crazy when he came out with a baseball bat with barbed wire. I was like, well, we didn't have a lesson on barbed wire in school, so how am I supposed to...
Did you know beforehand it was going to be underground rules? Was it supposed to be?
I didn't even know my opponent. I didn't know who my opponent was. They told me, all right, you got a match, kid, go out there. And I walked out, and J.D. Horror's, there will be blood.
There was blood a lot.
Do you ever know, like, besides when they make a post on Facebook or talk about it on Hellraiser Radio, do you ever know who your opponent's going to be?
Not till the day of. If it's not announced previously, but that match specifically, I found out in the ring.
That's
Also,
kinda
in
suck,
One
man.
Wild Night, I found out who my opponent was in the ring.
Well, that's true. Well, you were supposed to wrestle Andre Verdun, but didn't really work out that way. But you got a good replacement.
Hold on a second.
No,
Whoa.
he was
Wait.
fucking crazy too.
Wait a minute.
What?
Are you telling me you don't know who you're gonna wrestle to the day before?
Or the day of?
How the
That's
hell
what
are
he
you
said.
supposed to prepare? I mean, you gotta be fucking nuts.
Well, that's a great question. How do you prepare for something like that when you have no idea what kind of skills are going to be
Well,
put
that's
against you in the
why
ring?
to be a wrestler and to do that, you gotta train in all styles of wrestling to prepare for any style of wrestling to come your way.
I think now I know why they call him the Kamikaze, because this fucker's crazy.
I'm not as crazy as most of these
Suicide,
guys.
Kamikaze, come on, I mean suicide, right?
Well, this guy is definitely throwing his body out there
Wow.
and throws himself to the wind.
So
He
you
goes out there and does his
So
matches.
you just go and you're like, okay, I'm gonna wrestle, blah blah blah. You don't know who you're gonna wrestle, and then they tell you, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow, Kyle, that's fucking. And I thought I was crazy. And
That's obviously gone a long way.
Previously, like
crazy, man.
More recently, okay, I don't know that Spanish shit, but more recently, all my matches have been announced on Facebook, so that's
Kind of had a little bit of time.
I just hang
You
out.
speak Spanish?
Tacos, burritos,
Okay.
salsa roja.
No, in Spanish is no.
Oh, that's easy. That's easy to
Took
know.
me 2 months to train, teach him how to say that in Spanish. This
Well,
guy.
obviously, you know what you're doing in the ring is shining through because you have yet to win a match here in UEW, but it hasn't stopped you. It hasn't stopped the booking committee and the championship committee for recommending you for matches. I mean, this guy's he hasn't been here a year yet,
Kyle.
and he's already competed twice for the UEW Heavyweight Championship.
You're telling me, people watching us, you're telling me that this guy has not won a match yet?
No,
Not even one fucking match? Not even a
not
draw?
in UEW.
Not in UEW.
Well, you know, I know a good
really
manager.
I mean, this is where the level of competition
You know what he
is
needs
risen to the top.
is good management.
I d-
A good manager.
But now you sound like slamming fucking Stu.
No, I'm not. Because if I manage you, seriously, if I manage,
If you okay, that's hypothetical. Okay, if you manage me,
you'll be prepared for your next match. Who are you gonna wrestle? Because I wouldn't allow them to say, okay, tomorrow. You'd be like, hey, next week, next month, you know who you're gonna. You know, that's why I know how. When
will you have the inside scoop on how to defeat those opponents?
Of course I do.
So can you give me just a little test run? How can I beat Biagio today? Like, how do you think I can beat Biagio?
Well, here's the trick. I'm not your manager.
See, but this is give us a test run.
Okay.
What you need, tacos? I gotta pay you in pesos.
You know
How do we do this? How do we do this?
Take a broken mirror and show it to Biagio.
Broken mirror, and then cut him open with it.
No, he's like, oh my god, he thinks his face and just.
I think cutting him open would be better.
I'd
That'll be
love
good
to see
too,
that. I think the Fiends would love to see that. He goes out there and talks about how much of a pretty boy he is. I think it would
you think
definitely
he's-
change the element of the match to see
Hold on,
his
hold
own
on,
play.
Max. Do you think he's a pretty boy, Kyle? Man.
Max X?
Biagio, you said
Biagio
pretty
presents
boy.
out?
He said pretty boy.
He calls himself a pretty boy.
I know.
I mean, the fans have called him Princess Powerpuff, so I think he thinks he's pretty. Pretty.
I think he wakes up to
Let's get back to the task at hand. Back about Max X.
Max X.
So Max, what got you interested in professional wrestling? Why are you here today?
¿Qué es lo que te hizo hacer that? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was trying to figure out what you're trying to say too. No, but I mean, I've been a wrestling fan since childhood. I've always, watched SmackDown every Thursday with my cousin.
Where's Andre?
And I never got out. I think he's somewhere outside.
Live interview. Perfect.
And I think
No respect.
my entire life I never got out of wrestling while everyone, my friends were getting out of wrestling, and I was over here, the black sheep just talking about wrestling this, wrestling that, and it'd be like, oh, well, I don't watch it or whatever. And I just never grew out of it. I mean, a lot of my things, my life, like Pokemon, never got out of either, and I still love Pokemon.
You know, we have something in common. Stand up.
Oh, Jesus
We
Christ.
both never grew out of it.
Well, he's actually taller than you.
Whatever.
It's these
So
these
tell me-
bad boys, these shins.
I love it. Look at this cat shit.
It's the kitty cats.
Look
Can you
at
get
it.
close
Look
up?
at it. Close up.
That's why we call him Pussyfoot here in UEW.
Pussyfoot. See that? That's crazy. Hey, look at chanclas.
There we go.
Hello. Neta, I was wearing blue socks.
What are those?
It's hot as fuck. here in the underground auditorium. I'm flip-flopping around like a motherfucker today. I don't give a fuck.
That's crazy.
We want to trade? I don't think I can fit in these kitty shoes.
Give me one of those.
You can have one.
Oh shit.
I'll hold on to it though.
Your feet are huge.
I got big feet, you know?
I look like my grandma.
Your grandma has big feet?
What's giant feet?
What?
Well, anyway, so you watched wrestling as a child. Who was your favorite growing up? Who inspired you?
Honestly, my favorite all-time wrestler is The Undertaker.
It's The Undertaker.
Wait.
You have The Undertaker?
No, hold on. Let me guess. The Undertaker.
Oh,
It works good!
good
Oh,
guess.
ow,
That's a good guess.
Works good, huh?
Not Biker Undertaker.
I like the Biker Undertaker.
I saw Kane, and my cousins were like, "Oh, but he has a brother," and they showed me like the Royal Rumble where he got buried by all the wrestlers, like
buried?
Yokozuna and all them.
You come back to life.
He came back in a casket. He came back floating, and that's when I was like, "Oh, like this guy is freaking awesome." And then the one VHS tape I always had was the 1998 King of the Ring that I watched religiously. Like, I mean, I watched this thing everywhere. And I would like just play it over and over and over, and I would always watch that Hell in a Cell match. And I fell in love with Mick Foley and The Undertaker in that crazy match.
That was crazy.
That was always my life.
You did see that match. You watched the...
I've seen it.
Yeah, Saki. Oh, yeah.
You're not excited.
Well, no,
as
you
much
know,
as I am about the Undertaker
you
match.
said something about it, and it made me think of something else. I was gonna say, you know, prior to you coming in here, you were doing regular wrestling matches, traditional wrestling style matches. You kind of got involved in the hardcore stuff. You've done a couple of death matches now. Was that something you thought about doing before walking into UEW, or is it something now that you look to pursue later on? Is it under you now? Do you want to do death matches?
It's no secret that I was doing, you know, ring crew with UEW long before I debuted it.
That's when
You
the ring
refereed here.
I refereed.
That's when the ring was falling apart. And
And I refereed a death match with BC Killer Supreme. And I knew
Hardcore Legends match.
And I knew if I was to come to UEW, I would have to get involved in that somehow. So it's not something I didn't want to do. It was something I just kind of accepted as anyone who wants to come to UEW's got to do.
And you know what? From what I remember, when we should train, during the training courses, he started off, you know, kind of struggling with the cross faces.
Of course. Of course.
But then this guy, he advanced pretty quick, man. I remember this and he got me in an armbar. I mean, I slipped, and he got me good. I slipped.
Oh,
He was one of the few that
Yeah.
actually stayed with the program.
Yeah, he stayed.
And stuck with it, and this is what happened.
Ladies and
He stayed with
gentlemen, when you are dedicated, when you train yourself, when you respect the business and train well, that's what you get. This guy's relentless. It's wild. He's crazier than Kyle Wilde.
I'm not as crazy as
Well, Wayne Chancla sound like you're
No one is.
It's right. You gotta be a crazy man with chanclas.
Yeah. Chancla means sandals.
Before we end this, Sovereign of Slaughter is coming up. First ever UEW solo deathmatch tournament. Is that on your radar? Are you looking to become the first ever Sovereign of Slaughter?
I definitely threw my name in the hat when they were asking for competitors, so I haven't got a word back yet.
No response yet.
No response
He was
yet.
the first one to knock on the door about that.
What about the W3C? You know, we had the West Coast Cruiser Cup tournament
That's
last
another
year.
one. I
Hank
want
Reed, Ricky Barrera took that cup. This year we're extending it. It's a 2-day tournament. Are you throwing your name in that?
I look at Ricky Barrera winning that W3C and how his career escalated right after that, and that's something I'm going to want to pursue as well. I want to get up there, and I think the W3C is the way to go.
Max,
You're
let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
From everybody that you've been wrestling, who do you look up to and want to really beat? You know, it's like saying taking the man out. You know, to beat the man, you gotta beat the man. Who in this era is the man that you want to beat to be the man?
Here in UEW, whoa, right in the camera, right in front of the camera.
No respect yet.
Where in the locker room, these guys, you know, no tienen respeto porque están güeros.
It is the UEW locker room.
Put English captions right below that.
Yes.
Oh, really?
No
Really?
respect.
We're gonna bring this segment to an end.
We're
Before
from
we
white
go,
to black.
anything you'd like to shout out? I know you've got the Young Lions Cup coming up.
Possibly, I don't know yet for sure.
You don't know? You just talked? Okay. What the fuck was that?
I didn't.
Anything else you want to add to tonight? You have Biagio Crescenzo one-on-one. Any words for your opponent going into that match?
I'm going to whip Biagio Crescenzo's ass. I'm going to whip his ass is what I'm going to do. I'm going to break his arm is what I'm going to do. I'm going to bend him over my neck. I'm going to smack the shit out of Biagio Crescenzo today. That's what I'm going to do.
And break his huevos too, man.
I'm going to break his
ow.
Max, thank you very much. Hardcore Kamikaze, Max X. We'll be right back after this.
I'll show myself out the door.
Underground Empire Wrestling videos are now available on demand worldwide. Our complete events are now available with new shows added weekly. Video on demand rentals are only $4.99. Look up Underground Empire Wrestling on Vimeo on demand. Underground Fiends this Halloween, Saturday, October the 31st, 2015. Underground Empire Wrestling goes Hellbound, featuring a Falls Count Anywhere match. Hatebreed Ricky Barrera goes one-on-one with the Hardcore Kamikaze Max X, and a UEW Tag Team Championship match. Urban Discipline faces the Heavy Hitters in a Texas Bull Rope Dog Collar Tag Team match. Vern Owens goes one-on-one with Big Dick Haas in a match to be announced. Plus, our underground main event is a 6-man tag team death match to be decided inside the Satanic Sanitarium. The Vandal, Andre Verdun, teams with the Vicious Nomad, Homeless Jimmy, and Cult Fiction's own JD Horror to face the Resistance, Insaniac, BC Killer, and Michael Kruger. Plus, more to be announced. All matches will be contested under underground rules or more significant stipulations. Every title will be on the line. Before the show, trick or treat in the underground parking lot. And following the main event, we'll be hosting a free all-night Creature Theater double feature Halloween party with movies, cartoons, trivia, prizes, games, candy, costume contest, and much, much more. It's live Halloween night, October 31st, 2015, from the Underground Auditorium in East Los Angeles. Tickets are now on sale on UEWWrestling.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, back here on the Wylde and Munch Show, we have the privilege of sitting with the Vandal of UEW, Andre Verdun. Andre?
You didn't say who's going to be here.
It's the Wylde and Munch Show. Kind of implied.
He's got a chair in his hand.
To be fair, you smacked the shit out of him the last time he saw you.
I'm going to smack the shit out of him right now.
I already went to the bathroom.
In fact, I'll even smack you down to get to him.
I don't doubt it. Monchichi, drop the fucking chair. Okay.
How about you don't talk to me?
Monchichi doesn't talk. All right. Well, tonight we're here at the back. We're in the locker room for Violent Reaction tonight. You have your first one-on-one match, I think, since this entire year. You were in the Fuck the World 5-man, but you haven't been in a one-on-one match in over a year.
Yeah, it was October, I think 13th? October 4th. Oh, October of 2014. Hey, shut the fuck up.
Well, that was the Hellbound match between you and JD Horror?
Yes. I had a 102-degree temperature. I was wrapped up in a blanket until I went out for the match, did the match. Get the fuck out of here! Get the fuck out of here!
I'm going to sit right here.
I fucking told you this piece of shit.
Munch, I
asshole.
can't take you anywhere, man.
But my mom said I could be here.
You know what? Shut the fuck up. You got one more question?
Ladies and gentlemen, Andre Verdun.
I got you. You're going to lose.
We'll be back.
Saturday, December 5th, 2015. Underground Empire Wrestling invites you to celebrate a very bloody red Christmas in the Underground as we host the first annual Sovereign of Slaughter Solo Man Deathmatch Tournament. This inaugural tournament features some of the most violent names in this industry, including the Vicious Nomad, Homeless Jimmy, Cult Fiction's own JD Horror, and the man from the realm of the rotting dead, Carnage, who will be next to state their claim as this year's Sovereign and join the other Slaughter participants. Tickets are now available on UEWWrestling.com. Horror Society presents Flesh Wound Radio every Thursday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. News, reviews, TV terror talk, and morgue. Your hosts, Todd Loya and Daniel Shine. Available now on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, and Stitcher. Follow them for more information on Facebook.com/FleshWoundFeatures.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, after a little cooling down, we got Andre Verdun to agree to be out here. Is this all necessary, though?
You want your fucking interview?
Yes. All right.
Then this is fucking necessary.
Danny's gonna be on.
Where's
his
your retarded
best
friend? Oh, that funny?
I don't know.
Where's your cell phone?
I don't have one.
Yeah, that's why you don't have one.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Andre Verdun here. We were talking about how this is his first match back since October of last year.
My first singles match.
First singles match. I apologize. First singles match back. What's going through your head now? It was announced earlier on social media that your match tonight is going to be a barbed wire rope match.
It's gonna be a barbed wire rope match?
Barbed wire ropes?
I didn't check my Facebook today.
That's what I was told. It was announced earlier on Underground Empire Wrestling's Facebook.
So I'm wrestling in Saniac in a barbed wire rope match.
Barbed wire rope match.
You're gonna wrap barbed wire around the rope?
They're going to take the ropes down and put the barbed wire up as the ropes.
That's a no rope barbed wire match. That's funny? You're the voice of UEW. You know what the fuck means you're doing a barbed wire rope match and a no rope barbed wire match? It sounds similar, but it's different.
Understandable.
Anyway, what's going through my mind? I'm gonna get in the ring, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of a retard, and I'm gonna beat his ass.
Is Danny going to be out there tonight?
I don't know.
Are you going to be out there tonight? He's got
Makes a good
plans.
point.
Yeah. Well, anyway, what's going through your mind besides the Insaniac? We got our biggest show of the year coming up. We got Hellbound coming up. Do you have any plans for that show?
I don't know what. Look, I'm thinking about tonight. I'm in the ring with a fucking guy who's bigger than me, stronger than me, younger than me. I don't know if he's younger than me. How old is he? All right, so he's not younger than me. But I don't think that I would be doing myself a service if I was thinking about October 31st when it's October 10th, and apparently I'm in a no rope barbed wire match with a fucking psychopath. I mean, I hit the guy with the chair 5 times and he doesn't stay down. I hit people with a chair one time and they go to the hospital that night because they have a concussion. So, no, I'm not thinking about October 31st. I'm not thinking about December 12th. I'm thinking about October 10th. Getting in that ring, surviving, and walking out the victory.
Well, like you said, you hit him multiple times and it didn't put him down. What do you think it's going to take to keep this guy down?
I'll just cut his jugular.
That might do it.
No, it's legal. It's no real barbed wire match.
So, Max X actually, we spoke to him earlier, and he said many times... Max X said many times he doesn't know unless it's announced on social media or something like that. He has no idea what he's walking into. Is that the same for you? Like you said, you didn't know about the barbed wire match, that being added as a stipulation.
Yeah, I think
Do you
that's
not
your
know?
question. Very few times. I mean, when they announce it, it's usually when I find out about it.
Okay.
It's the way it's been since the beginning.
Well, you bring up the beginning. For those that might not know, how exactly did you get involved into professional wrestling?
Well, I did backyard wrestling, and I was involved in a extra violent form of backyard wrestling that got some local media attention. Ended up on 2020, all kinds of TV shows, and a guy contacted me because he wanted to create a best of backyard wrestling video with our promotion. Contacted me. Asked me if I'd come down and give him some of the footage. We went down there, we talked, and apparently he was also working for Rob Black, who at the time owned XPW, was doing video editing for him. And he brought the sizzle reel he created for our backyard thing to Rob, and Rob told him to bring me down to their offices. Yeah, you were there, you dumb fuck. And I went down there and wasn't very welcoming, to say the least. None of the wrestlers really wanted me there because I understand why. I don't know if they understood that what Rob really had in mind, but they were like, we don't want to get in the ring and wrestle this guy who wasn't trained, he was a backyard wrestler. But regardless of all that, I was given an opportunity to get in there and learn the business, and I did so. And originally was training with Supreme, and then Messiah got into the mix, Chaos got into the mix, and Homeless Jimmy got in the mix, and got in the mix, and no, you weren't a part of that. You were just fucking there. Yeah. No, that's bullshit. You ain't taking credit for shit. Shut the fuck up. And so I was an X-Baby for a while, and then I decided that you know, there was no opportunity for me there. So when I was 19, I started UEW. I used whatever training I had to basically gather a bunch of backyard kids, and we started going and training every Saturday for almost a year. And we started doing shows, and that was kind of the birth of UEW, and that was kind of the birth of my wrestling career. Did that for did that for a couple of years, and then I went down to Vegas and started training with some really prominent wrestlers out there. And one thing led to the next, and here I am.
And you speak about UEW. Usually, UEW was shut down back when it first started. It was shut down again as well, correct?
Well, I don't know what you mean by shut down. On both incidences where UEW stopped running, it was voluntary, and it was with the intent that we would do that. The first time we shut down UEW was probably in 2002. I mean, it all kind of blurs together. You got to understand that my whole life, since high school till today, it's a blur. Things overlap, and sometimes I think, oh, well, that couldn't happen at this point because I was doing this. But we were doing a lot of shows, but you got to understand that we were outside of the SoCal scene. Like, we weren't allowed to talk to other wrestlers. We weren't allowed to be a part of any other promotion. We were just UEW. We were legitimately like a renegade outside wrestling company. And we were drawing pretty well. We were having a lot of fun, but the people who I had trained, because I was the person who trained the original roster, they really wanted to be a part of the wrestling scene. And when we really started to kind of build some momentum, there was an open invite for those guys to go join Ron Rivera and Revolution Pro. And so a large portion of the roster decided to go to Rev Pro, and it was their decision, but they decided that in order to basically be invited into that world, it was best to get away from UEW, because it still had the connotation of being a backyard promotion. Even though we were in a building, even though we were in a ring, even though we were training, even though we were drawing shows and selling tickets and selling T-shirts and selling DVDs. At the time, it was VHSs. We weren't credible to the wrestling scene. So a large portion decided to do that. Another portion wanted to stay and do UEW, but I felt like so many people had gone there that it was just time for me to go and find my own way. And that's why I'm going to Vegas, because again, I needed to get out of the SoCal scene. I wasn't welcome here. So I went to Vegas, and like I said, it was a lot of fun. It was a different experience because the promotion I worked for there didn't do blood, violence, profanity, and so I had to rely on the fact that I could tap people. And people hated wrestling me there because I was pretty brutal with them. But it was fun. I'm sorry. Keep that in there to the guy. You know, Vegas was a lot of fun, and it kind of created some space because when I was in Vegas wrestling, that's when Ron Rivera asked me to come back to Rev Pro. But again, because he didn't want to deal with the fact that I was Andre Verdun, he put me in the hood. And so I wrestled for Rev Pro a couple years in the hood, and then I kind of transitioned out of that back into who I was before I left for Vegas. And through actually Kevin Kleinrock's SCCW show, it was like a rebirth because I was one of the original founders of UEW. And I was one of the guys. The people who founded it with me decided to go to Rev Pro. So it's basically just me left as one of the original founders, even though I wasn't running it. The guys who was running UEW went to Rev Pro to help Ron Rivera run Rev Pro. And that's the main reason why I decided to close it down, because I don't run wrestling companies, I wrestle them. I may help, but I don't run wrestling companies. When UEW came back the second time, which was organized at the SCCW King of Deathmatch tournament, I was approached by a couple people who said that they wanted to reorganize UEW. They weren't people who were there before, but they knew of us. And I agreed to help in that process. And actually, it was at that point that I actually hand-selected Michael Rummins to run UEW. And that was a few months after we became friends, and that was pretty much the end of our friendship.
Well, it's funny because you talk about Michael Rummins and being in charge of UEW. When it came back last year, you guys weren't really the best of friends.
We weren't the best of friends when it shut down. We weren't, and it was kind of some of the, I think, the friction that caused the breakdown, because UEW was touring at the time. We toured with other companies and did a lot of stuff, and it was a constant battle being on the road and being in the car with 16 people, and everybody knows these two people hate each other. And one's the guy that ran the company, another guy is founded the company. How are you going to do that?
Right.
And there was a lot of, and to this day, I don't even know where that all started. It doesn't really matter. But it was one of the components that I think helped unravel the company, including many others. And we just kind of came together, and it was a collective decision that it was time to stop. Now, again, I wasn't running the company, but there was a lot of respect there, so I was involved in that final meeting where it was decided that we would close the doors and maybe just take a few years off and see where it goes. And those few years turned into, and then there was, of course, the incident where I set cars on fire, which didn't make people happy. So took a few years off. I went to law school. Actually, was in law school during the UAW run. And, I kind of just decided that, I didn't need to be part of business anymore, and I was going to go about my life and travel different roads, seek out new adventures. And I got a phone call one day and said, "Yeah, Udemy's coming back. We want you to wrestle BC. Why don't you come on back here and do it?" And so I met with Mike, and I was a little offended that he never called me, because I knew that we had the issues in the past. And I mean, if you go back and watch those videos, it was as apparent watching those shows. It was as public then as it was when you came back. But I told him, I said, I've been here at this company since the very first day, and for you to restart this company without even calling me and offering me a match. And he said, "Well, I thought that you had moved on." I said, "Yeah, you could have called me though. Could have called me." And so I think actually it was me feeling slighted that he didn't call me, that made me more interested in doing the show than anything else. And then and the fact that I felt like I had something to finish with DC, but I never got to finish. And to this day, I never got to finish it. And I'm still looking for that opportunity.
Well, I think it happened the way it happened for a reason. I think we're glad for it, because if you didn't come back, we wouldn't have you here tonight for this awesome main event, and we wouldn't possibly get to see if that ever happens, the conclusion of what
He was hoping I was going to stay away, he said.
I can't understand what he's saying through that thing. I'll take your word for it. Well, you bring up also Michael Rummins. You guys were not the best of friends, but as of late, it seems like things are on a different page now, or you guys are getting along, or he brought you back, which dropped my jaw to the floor. I never would have thought that in a million years, that he would have had you come out and take care of the situation that's happening.
Let's make one thing clear. I was never God. A lot of people talk about, oh yeah, he was always around. I mean, and fuck the world, I broke my ankle. When I was recovering from a broken ankle, I tore a ligament in my elbow, and I was always here, but I was just here. When Carnage decided to depart with UEW, and that was kind of my purpose for being there, and Mike Rummins had a prohibition against me and BC kind of fighting, and so I just kind of sat here and said, I'm going to support the company in a different way, just from viewing things from backstage. And when Sledge decided to take the belt to San Bernardino or San Luis Obispo and say that he wasn't going to come here to defend it, that prompted me and Mike to have a very interesting. See, me and Mike were always on top of terms. Like, he would call me all the time, and I would always pick up the phone. And if I needed to call him, he'd pick up the phone. So as much as we didn't get along, which we did not, we always kept the pathways of communication open. And he called me and he said, "Why don't you come on down to my house and let's sit and talk?" And so I did. And we kind of got things out. And he explained to me why it was that he was trying to change the fabric of UEW, and I explained to him why I thought that he didn't have any right to do it. And he said, "Here's the deal. We're under attack, and when we're under attack, sometimes you gotta unleash the dog. And I want to take you off your leash, and I want you to go out there, and I want you to win that belt back for UEW. And do whatever it takes. I won't stand in your way." And so I decided to do that. And when it came down to Sledge deciding that he was going to attempt to back out of the match, and I talked to Mike and I said, "Why don't you go tell the championship committee that if Sledge isn't going to defend the belt, we'll do a battle royal, because I guarantee you that belt will come home." They thought that I was planning on winning the battle royal, but I had another plan in mind. So a wink and a nod to JD, and I said, "Stay in that battle royal to the very end. I'll make sure you walk out if you're really wearing our colors." And he said, "You know what? I'm going to wear your colors. We're going to do it." And like I said, it was not really done verbally. It was just a wink and a nod. I knew that if it was down to me, him, and anybody else in the world, they weren't going to win. distraction. I was the whatever you want to call it. I was basically
You're out there being a vandal, vandalizing the ring.
yeah, and I got everyone's attention on me, and made it very possible for him to easily walk away with the belt. And I think that JD, though was not champion very long, held that belt with a lot of fucking pride, and I think is one of the best champions this company's had. And I think him and Bobby Hart were both fantastic champions. I think Sledge could have been a good champion, but he lacks what he has in ability and what he has in so many different things. He lacks in loyalty. He doesn't really feel loyal to this company, and that's why every day he gets in that ring, I'm going to lose. And quite frankly, if someone else can't step up and do it, maybe I'll just have to go back to the championship committee and get a rematch. Now, I actually asked for a rematch when Sledge won the belt, but I was told that you can't just jump to the top. That there's people who've been working for those rematches for those positions for a long time. I agree with that, and so I'm waiting to see if R3 can do it. I'm waiting to see if Sean Black can do it. I'm waiting to see if he can. But if all else fails, I got to step up. I will. But who I can really see with that belt is JD Horror. I think that you can beat Sledge. I know we can beat Sledge, and I don't care if it's a death match or not. I really like to see JD Horror get that belt again. I think he was a good champion. Or I like to see Bobby Hart make his return. I know he's still nursing injuries and he's got some personal matters he's dealing with, but I'd love to see him come back and take on Sledge, because Sledge beat him. But Sledge beat him when the fucking first year fucking Green Boy could have beat him. The guy could barely walk. So he can, for as bad as Bobby was looking and as bad as that injury was, and for his fucking thought, I like to see him and Sledge go at it one-on-one when fucking Sledge is 100% and Bobby's 100%. I don't think Sledge can.
I agree with you. I've been saying since day one, since that happened, I wanted to see it, because if you watch that match, you see Bobby Hart went toe-to-toe with Sledge. Sledge was 100%. Bobby Hart was not. He went toe-to-toe with him. What would have happened if Hart would have been 100%?
Yeah.
Would that have been the same match? I don't think so. But
and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Sledge had been wrestling for several months before that. He was just training. He was just getting ready for this fucking this plan. I don't really like using that word, but this plan that Dino Winwood had, and it worked. But you know what? You don't really have to fucking plan that hard to wrestle a guy who's not medically competed to wrestle, who's got ligaments, who's got bone on bone. I mean, the guy was in excruciating pain and refused to take fucking any type of medication for it. He refused to. He was just supposed to walk in and hand the belt over. He wasn't even supposed to wrestle. If you watch the match, he doesn't even have this. He has this fucking, his overclothes on. He didn't come out there to wrestle, and then he just at the last second say, you know what, you're gonna beat me, but you're gonna have to beat me. And I think that kind of solidified to me the kind of person he is, what kind of champion he is, and that's why I want to see Bobby Hart come back and that belt. But if it's not him, I think it'd be JD Horror.
you better stop, or you're going to be the one in excruciating pain. Just relax.
I probably prefer the Insaniac over Sledge, but you know what? If the Insaniac fucking had that belt, then.
Well, you kind of answered my next question I had for you. You said how you felt about Sledge, and we obviously know that things are not done between you and BC Killer. Is there anyone on the roster currently, or even not on the roster, is there anyone that you feel you'd like to step in the ring with? Is there anybody that before you're done that you need to cross paths with?
There's a lot of people that I like to get in the ring with. There's still a lot of the deathmatch guys on the East Coast that I haven't competed against. I got to take on Ian Rotten, and I went to IWA Mid-South and wrestled a few of them a long time ago, but there's a few things there I think that'd be kind of interesting. On our own roster, of course, there's some rising stars, and always like getting rid of people who are hungry. Sometimes those people, even though if they lack ability, pure hunger alone can do incredible things. And the thing about UEW here is any given night, anything can happen.
Can he ask you a question?
I scratched my nose.
That was it?
That's all you needed? Put the thing back on the top.
There you go, baby. Oh, never mind.
Let's go.
Anything else?
Oh yeah, but so there's a lot of names specifically on the roster right now, just up and coming
I want
talent.
BC Killer.
You just want BC
I
Killer.
want BC Killer.
Well, we
Got
got
Carnage up across the balls to walk back. I want to eliminate the Insaniac. I want to eliminate the Resistance. I want to eliminate Stu. I want to eliminate Kruger.
we have the first ever solo deathmatch tournament coming up, the Sovereign of Slaughter. Are you gunning for that? Do you have any interest in becoming the first ever Sovereign of Slaughter?
Now you're asking about specifics, and it kind of goes back to what I just told you before. Right now, my mind's on today. Sovereign of Slaughter may only be a few weeks away for you, but it's a lifetime away for me. Tonight, it's Insaniac. It's a barbed wire rope match. And I'm going to eliminate this man and Insaniac from Underground Empire Wrestling.
Alright, well, thank you very much. Is there any words you have specifically for the Insaniac, the man waiting for you tonight?
I have one more word for him. Where'd you go? Relax, you gotta wait, just wait 5 fucking seconds.